Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time talking episode 9 of season 4 of Arrow called Dark Waters. So here we have our mid-season finale and it's a pretty solid one. There's some nice revelations, some nice happenings, definitely a few good jokes. Cliffhanger, I'm not so wild about, but let's just kind of get right into it. One thing I like that they did in this episode is that Damien Dark explicitly states that Starling City is on the west coast. Now, I seem to vaguely remember years ago, and I've mentioned this several times, the creator saying that kind of in our minds, we're sort of imagining this as being somewhere in Northern California. And this kind of feeds into what we've seen on The Flash, where I think one episode, I think it was the one where like Weather Wizard almost destroyed the city, where Barry explicitly stated that Central City was next to the ocean, which would also imply that it's on the West Coast somewhere. So Northern California, Oregon, Washington State. I mean, pretty obviously these places are not in Southern California. Um, So, but again, all that's really been confirmed is that Starling City is on the west coast, and we can just kind of extrapolate that so is Central City based on that. Oh yeah, and the fact that apparently Iron Heights is in Starling City, but Henry Allen could see the singularity opening above Central City from the prison, which would actually seem to indicate that these two cities are relatively close together. Well, whatever. Let's just kind of roll with it. So here we kind of get some kind of an idea of what exactly Damien Dark and Hive are after, and it's something to do with algae that they're growing in the bay, which helps with like mind control and stuff. Okay, and I guess there was something like the unique combination of pollutants in the bay made it really a great place for this type of algae to grow, and that's why he didn't want the cleanup project to happen. Okay, so Damien Dark, that makes sense. Well, not really, but okay, so the Hive can have this enormous farm underground with all this corn, but they can't suck up a whole bunch of water from the bay and just grow the algae in like tanks. I mean, granted, a bay is a pretty darn big thing, but I mean, there has to be an easier way to do this. Just sort of like, oh yeah, let's hope nobody notices. Like what? Nobody notices you cleaning up algae out of a bay? Yeah, nobody's gonna do that. Now, okay, yes, there's the issue of, hey, if they clean this up, then we can't get this algae. Really, you can't, don't you can't find some other polluted bay? Whatever. This is stupid. Okay, that's all I have to say about it. Like, this is dumb. But it's one of those things that okay, we're just gonna have to roll with it. So we're also introduced to Damien Dark's partners here in Hive, and we're giving a little subtle reminder that these guys do have some level of influence and control over him. Damien Dark has been very insistent that people call him Mr. Dark, but here one of the people is able to freely call him Damien, and he doesn't do anything about it. And he certainly doesn't do anything about it when they're like, well, thanks to you, now the whole damn world knows about us. Good going. What are you going to do about this, man? So, yeah. And I like how they also get on his case. It's like, really, man, attacking the Christmas party? That how does that help? Again, a fair point. Now, it was really fun as hell to watch Damien Dark and the Hive guys attack the Christmas party. I mean, Neil McCullough, or however the hell you say his name, I mean, he's just having a grand old time chewing the scenery, being a smartass. I mean, you can tell when an actor is having fun. And this guy is loving every minute of being Damien Dark. You know, that whole time when he takes Diggle and Felicity and Thea prisoner and drags Oliver off and is taunting him. It's like, hey, hey, I got your friends, got your friends. And he gives this big old speech. I was like, oh, hey, I'm a bad guy. Yeah, yeah, okay. It was also fun to watch him deal with Malcolm Merlin in the Green Arrow costume. It's like, really, you're shooting arrows at me again? How many times have you not figured this out? That doesn't work on me. And then, of course, the arrow explodes in his face, which is pretty hilarious. And then we're at the end of it all, we're treated to him going and spending time with his family. It's kind of interesting. I was really expecting them to possibly be somebody from the comics. I mean, there was a few possibilities that floated through my mind, like the character of Lilith from the Teen Titans is, I would say, a possibility. Um, Now, granted, there's nothing to say that they're, the daughter probably most likely could turn out to be somebody from the comics. We don't know yet. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So let's see. Diggle and his brother. Again, it just sort of feels like a rehash of what we've seen before. It's just like, dude, seriously, just why will you not tell Diggle what happened? How did you join Hive? I mean, Diggle, really, why do you not press your brother on this? But given how uncooperative Andy is, I guess I don't know. This just sort of seems like Diggle has spent a lot of time asking the wrong questions. He's been really focused on like, Andy, you're not this type of person. When it should be like, okay, Andy, tell me what happened. Now again, Andy's been extremely uncooperative, and there's nothing to say that Diggle probably hasn't tried this. But you need something a little bit more than what happened, man. Let's see. Nothing really huge to say about what's going on with Thea. Uh, Once speaking of actors having a fun time, John Barrowman continues to have a great time as Malcolm Merlin. It's like, hey Oliver, this place is even easier to break into than your last base. And then his reaction to when Quentin Lance sees him, it's like, oh yeah, I'm not as dead as most people think I am. And Malcolm was also clearly getting a bit of a kick of running around in the Green Arrow costume. And oh yeah, Thea, maybe you shouldn't say, "Is that my dad?" Where there are a bunch of bad guys nearby who might overhear you and realize that Malcolm Merlin is masquerading as the Green Arrow in order to perhaps help someone else. I mean, you don't want them to focus on too much on the time that the Green Arrow did save Felicity Smoke's life personally by killing the first Count Vertigo. Never mind the other times that he's had a hand in things related to this guy Oliver Queen. It's like, really? God damn it, people! Will you be more careful about saying things like that around the bad guys? That's how Barry got outed to Kendra on Flash the other week. So, I swear to God, people who hang around superheroes are really terrible at keeping their secrets. Swear. Okay. Oh yeah, another good one from Malcolm is basically making fun of Laurel's costume by calling it a bondage outfit. Yeah, I have to give Sarah the points for the costume that means is the more reminiscent of how Black Canary looks in the comics. Um, Although Laurel's, since it kind of covers most of her body, is slightly more practical. Sarah's kind of is looks really great, but does have a few features that are designed to emphasize that Katie Lotz has quite a nice figure. Let's put it like that. Let's see what else. I also have to say some major points for Oliver, Felicity getting to talk with the little girl who looked like little Felicity, and then of course Oliver saving her. Again, very cute. I know I'm not the only fan who was sort of charmed by that. And oh yeah, so Oliver asks Felicity to marry him in front of this whole city, and yo, I mean, that's really great, except for the fact that Oliver is hiding the fact that he has a kid from her. So, in terms of things that are probably going to blow up in Oliver's face in the future, keep an eye on that. It's like, Oh, you love me so much that you asked me to marry you, but you've been keeping yet another secret from me that I, as the woman who has agreed to be your wife, should freaking know about. I mean, again, this kind of goes back to what I was complaining about the other week. It's like Oliver really, really should have been clear with Samantha, the lady who had his kid. Look, I need to be honest with my girlfriend about this, especially now. Now, this is where I get kind of disappointed by the whole mid-season finale thing. It's like, really, Oliver, you're not taking more precautions than this? And oh yeah, apparently, why aren't you driving a more bulletproof limousine? I'm sure the limo driver, who is now dead, would have appreciated that. It's just like, really, all these things in the bullets. They kill the limo driver, but neither of you guys gets hurt, at least until the very end, just by squatting down. Like, really? And just really, after all of this, after you've just managed to save your friends and stuff and family from this from a kidnapping by Hive, you're going to take this amount of security precautions just after you've asked a woman to marry you on citywide television. Oliver should have an army of guys like the Secret Service around him at this point. Now, granted, of course, he's not going to do that because he's, a vigilante on the side, but seriously, the amount of precautions he's taking under these circumstances seem laughable. I mean, oh, uh, yeah, and then of course there's the cool question of, hey, what in the world is Hive up to? Well, Damien Dark talks about, the world needs a fresh start. He even brings up like, yeah, the Nazis had kind of the right idea. I mean, they were still monsters, but they had the right idea. Well, the Nazis, that doesn't really jive with. The Nazis really weren't about a fresh start for the world. It's like we should kill everybody we don't think is properly Aryan. Is really kind of more their thing. Um, but we've seen this whole experimenting with mind control. They're setting up these things underground to grow food. So it seems like Hive has something apocalyptic in mind. Here, it kind of feels to me like they're trying to try some like super plague, whatever, and then we will ride this all out underground, as one hive. I don't know. It just feels like Damien Dark is stealing a page out of Ra's al Ghul's book. Ra's al Ghul's one of the big things in the comics is he's often trying to do stuff that will destroy most of the human race, so humans will achieve a balance with nature again, or some ridiculous BS like that. And here it sort of sounds like Damien Dark is trying to basically set up something like the vault system from Fallout. And yeah, I've been playing a lot of Fallout 4, so you'll have to forgive me if that's on my mind quite a bit. My new computer, which I'm recording this on, is basically I had it built around the optimized specs for Fallout 4, and it looks fantastic on my machine. I love it. But enough bragging. So yeah, I'm kind of again we're sort of spitballing on this being Damien Dark and Hive's plan, but it does kind of feel like that might be, from the clues we've gathered, the way they're going to go. It showed that they've cultivated people who are willing to die for what Damien Dark and presumably the other Hive leaders say. They've got this underground thing all set up to grow huge quantities of food. So presumably there's some sort of water system in place because they're going to have to irrigate all that corn. So yeah, again, this sort of feels like Damien Dark stealing a page out of Ra's al Ghul's traditional playbook. And again, given that he was a member of the League of Assassins at one point, that does make sense. And I really think they need to kind of get in there and it's like, hey, what exactly was this deal with this guy back in the day when he was in the League of Assassins? But anyway, I'm thinking, oh, wow. I think that kind of covers everything I had to say about this episode, so we're going to stop here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And of course, you can follow me on Hoosier Jedi on Twitter. And just to set this up today, I have a new Tumblr, which is where I'm going to be posting my reviews. It's Jedi Reviewer all together. So if you're on Tumblr and would like to follow me there, I'll be posting my reviews there as well as on YouTube. So with that said, I'm going to call it here. As always, take care and have a good one.